Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be going over 5 cartridges that aren't used as much as they should be. So I'm going to have a top 5 underrated hunting cartridges. If you guys like this video, I'd appreciate it if you would like and subscribe. Let's go ahead and get to number 5. The 7mm08 Remington, it's a pretty popular cartridge. You're going to find ammo on the shelves. It's not really obscure, but I do think it gets overlooked. I think people will either get a 6.5 Creedmoor or they'll get a 308 Winchester. But I think this cartridge needs to be noticed more. It has more power than a 6.5 Creedmoor, it has less recoil than a 308 Winchester, and it has almost identical performance on game as a 308 Winchester as well. Alright, so with a 139 grain bullet, you can get the 7mm08 to shoot up to 2,900 feet per second. But I think where this 7mm08 is really in its sweet spot is with a 150 grain bullet, say the 150 grain ELDX. Let's check out the velocity. You can get that going 2,800 feet per second. The 7mm08 is an ideal deer hunting cartridge. And honestly, it can take down elk. It's adequate enough out to certain ranges. I probably wouldn't shoot an elk past 300 yards with a 7mm08, but it definitely can do it. And I don't think it's popular enough yet, and hence why I have it as an underrated cartridge. Next is the 338 Federal. In 2006, Federal announced they would be making a new cartridge that's based off the 308 Winchester case. So this is a 308 Winchester necked up to 338. And what this does is give you almost 30-06 performance in a 338 bullet with a short action. So it's quite efficient. In fact, I think 338 bullets are the most efficient with the 30 caliber casings, if that makes sense. So let's go ahead and see what the performance is like. With a 185 grain bullet, you're getting almost 2,700 feet per second, and I think you can definitely get that. And so again, it's almost 30-06 performance, and it's going to be plenty of power. Obviously, this is not going to be a long distance shooter, but yeah, it's got plenty of power, and that's why it's on the list. Is I don't think many people know about this cartridge or use it. Of course, I had to put a Weatherby in there, but seriously, I think outside of a lot of Weatherby fans, this cartridge is pretty underrated and not used as much as it should be. So in 1944, Roy Weatherby created the 257 Weatherby Magnum. And what this is 300 H&H case, shortened a little bit, and obviously necked to 257. So it's a burner. Okay, let me just show you some of the velocities. So yes, it shoots small bullets, as I'm going to show you right now, but it sure makes up for it with velocity. So I'm just going to show you the 110 grain bullet. Now Hornady says you can shoot at 3,400 feet per second, but Weatherby factory ammo shoots it over 3,500 feet per second, which is blazing fast. With all of this velocity, this cartridge can obviously take deer, and I know a lot of people have taken elk with it. Probably not my first choice. I think I prefer a bigger bullet, but even with a 115 grain bullet and it's going 3,400 feet per second, the energy is almost 3,000 foot-pounds of energy, which is more than a 308 Winchester, more than a 270 Winchester, and almost as much as a 30-06, which is crazy. Hence why I think it's really underrated. I think it's underrated because it's a 25 caliber, and not a lot of people hunt with the 25 calibers. but I hope it gets more popular. The 280 Acme Improved, it's been here for a bit. It's based off a 280 Remington. So what Ackley did was took a 280 Remington case, which is just a 30-06 case, and moved up the shoulder and did it at 40 degrees. And so what that does is it provides people with being able to put a little more powder in their case, which gives you a little bit more velocity than the standard 280 Remington, which is no slouch either. So what this does is it provides an extremely efficient with good velocity. Yeah, it's not as powerful as a 7mm Rem Mag, but is much more efficient. It's going to have less recoil, and it's about within 50 to 100 feet per second difference with performance. Let me go ahead and show you that. Using the 150 grain, 154 grain bullets, go ahead and look at the velocity, 3,000 feet per second. That's going pretty darn fast. Now the 7mm Rem Mag can get it going 3,100 feet per second, but it's really close in performance. I know the 160 plus grain bullets are extremely popular in 7mm, and as you can see, it's going 2,900 feet per second. Now, the 280 Ackley Improved is not some obscure cartridge that no one's ever heard of. In fact, I think it has a small cult-like following, just because people love the performance of it, and I get that. But I still think it's not even close to being as popular as the 7mm Rem Mag. But I think it does need to be looked at closer and used more. The 264 Winchester Magnum, and as Hornaday says in their first sentence, it's belted, hot, and powerful. And I think that describes it pretty well. In the late 50s, in 1958, they introduced the 264 Winchester Magnum, and it's based off the same casing that's the 338 Winchester Mag, and later the 7mm Remington Mag copied it. So it's a big case, and it's providing Magnum velocities out of a 6.5 well before the 6.5 PRC. So let's just go ahead and see what kind of performance it has. The most popular bullet to shoot out of a 6.5 cartridge is definitely the 140 grain bullets, and the 264 Win Mag shoots it out pretty darn fast. It's shooting out at 3,050 feet per second, and I bet you could really get it up to 3,100 feet per second, which matches the 6.5 PRC performance. And I think it just came out at the wrong time. And I hope, with how popular 6.5 cartridges are, that it kind of gets back to being a really popular cartridge, that people start to use it. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the list. If you're in the market for a new hunting cartridge, take a look at one of these, as it's on par or even exceeds a lot of the popular hunting cartridges. And most likely, none of your hunting buddies will be shooting these. So it is unique. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a great day.